All right, want to roll into it?
Yeah, let's go, man.
All right. Welcome back, guys, to the Camo Convoy podcast with Aaron and Nick. And this time we have Matt. We are going to review our Kentucky trip. Now, unfortunately, I wasn't able to make that one. So, Aaron, what did you think, man? How was it?
It was a good trip. Matt and I had we had two different experiences Saturday, but man, it was a good trip overall. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah. Now, this was a unique one because we were able to actually bring Matt, who's a new member to Camo, welcome, on a trip that is typically one that we probably wouldn't usher new folks into. So last week, you actually had the opportunity to sit down with Matt and kind of go over what his expectations were. So this was him coming into Camo blind. So let's rewind. We'll look at that, and then we'll come back and we'll ask Matt what he thought after the fact. Craft editing. That actually just might be the transition.
All right, guys, it is Tuesday before we go to Kentucky, and we have a newer member, I would say, fresh member. Nick and I were sitting around after the last podcast talking about what we were going to do, and we decided that, Matt here is in a very unique situation of being part of the community chats, and he hasn't been on a trip with us yet, and we don't know that much about him, so we figured we would interview him and see what it's like before the Camo trip, after the Camo trip, what his expectations are, learn who he is. Matt, let's hear about you, man. Who are you? What are you about?
I currently have a 2022 Colorado Z71 4x4 that I've done a little bit of work to, but it's still basically stock. And I've gotten out a little bit to kind of like figure out what it can do.
So you're still fairly new to the off-road overland arena.
Yeah. So last year I went on a PA Gamelands tour, and it was basically, and I think I even did like just a random drive through the Gamelands. It's basically all gravel. They really do a ton of like off-roading per se, or overlanding for that matter. I've camped a ton, but never really overlanded. And then I did a 101 up in AOA earlier in January this year.
What are you looking forward to with this trip coming up? We're going to Kentucky. Nick talked about it briefly in the last podcast. I don't know. What are you looking forward to? How do you think this is going to go?
I'm a little nervous, to be honest. One, I don't think I've driven the truck 9 hours out to Kentucky before. I've never been to Kentucky before. And I've never done an overlanding trip like this. Actually, I've never done an overlanding trip. I've done, KOA camping, but it's definitely a big difference. But honestly, one of the things that I guess drew me into Camo mostly, and what I'm really excited for this trip, is just the kind of community that you guys have. People coming from all over and just kind of enjoying the outdoors and each other's companies and the ride. Because we're not staying in one place multiple nights. It's the journey is the destination.
Yes, it's a road trip in every sense of it. Every day we're going to be traveling. Yep. So you bring up the community with it. You've been part of it. How did you find Camo?
I think I'm still in 10 off-roading or overlanding groups. Some of them are local.
And
I don't really see a lot of activity there's maybe 2 or 3 that there's 4 I think I can think of off the top of my head that's got like a lot of activity. There was one Pennsylvania group, and they were really good at getting out, getting connected a lot, but they actually haven't been active quite too much. I noticed there's a lot of activity. I'm kind of learning if I can get out on this trip, then it's not really you don't really need to have big bucks into it.
exactly. Exactly. No, we appreciate each other's builds and give some tips here and there, but it's a lot more laid back, I think, from any other group that I've been in.
Yeah.
I feel like too that there's a good bit of talent in Camo between like the 24-hour stuff and people in the industry to some extent. It just seems like a really friendly group. I've been welcomed into it. I've enjoyed it. I hope you have the same experience with it. I'm excited to see what happens with Kentucky. I think your truck's going to do really good down there.
Yeah. Potentially, minus the tires.
So what kind of tires are you on?
So I'm a little nervous with the older stock tires. I only have the 4/32 tread left, and they've been doing great, but I'm just wondering if we really get into some off-roading stuff, if I'm just gonna be spinning in some mud and not catching anything. But
And we'll find out. It'll make it interesting.
one of the things that we were talking about, like what drew me into camo. One of the things, there's a lot of other groups where it's what is overlanding, what is a budget, or what is and people really like they put a label on it and like you got to have this to be able to say you're doing it. And I think camo was really just like welcome, you got glad to have you here. It
Yep.
wasn't
Just
really as much, yeah. There wasn't that sort of Instagramminess of it.
absolutely. Yeah, Nick's really built a nice community here with Camo in that aspect. All right. Well, I think this was a good introduction to who you are. We are going to cut now, and we'll pick you back up after the Kentucky trip. Well, that was a week ago. Let's hear what he says now.
I didn't die on Castle.
Others did.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I got a little dicey with the rain and all, but I don't know. I'm thinking about this for probably a week now. I got 3 pieces of advice for anybody thinking about coming on a trip. 1 is do it. Like, stop thinking about it, just do it. 2 is definitely, if you have an option, go the day before. Like,
Yeah.
Aaron and I and a couple others, we went the day before, and it made it so much more relaxing. We got to camp on Friday night, and I'm like, and the trip's over. But the trip did. And then lastly, like I mentioned, like if you can convoy with someone else, it makes it so much better of a trip. Convoy there, convoy back with somebody else.
Yep.
Definitely. Yeah, I love that you brought that up because one of my favorite parts, and I mean, this is no surprise to any of my friends listening to this, but I love yapping on the radio, man. And it could be driving highway or 2-lane, but it's just fun. I don't know. It's like watching Convoy or something.
Yep. I like this the random conversations you pick up going down the interstate that are sometimes not that all appropriate.
Did anything surprise you? Anything coming into it where you were like, "Oh, I didn't see that coming."
It was like out the gate more technical than I expected, and I hear that as a Kentucky thing.
Mhm.
Yep.
I wasn't expecting as many rocks and as much. So many people were like, "Oh, it's nothing. You can do everything in stock." Castle, I still can't believe I did it, but
Yeah.
I actually went up the same way I came down. Yeah, it's doable.
Yeah.
I going out with other groups from other groups, other pages, or whatever. There's still the sense of like, am I going to be able to rely on these people? Whether it was, someone spotting me last weekend, or it was just the imminent danger of flash floods in the valley in Kentucky, I didn't have any concern that I was going to mess something up or we were going to not get out of there. Like I felt safe the whole time.
I appreciate that. We've had a really good run with a lot of really good people, and I feel the same way. We've been in some situations where it's like, ooh, and these are the people that I would choose to fortunately be in situations like that with. So I appreciate hearing that from someone, especially someone that hasn't been out with us before, to kind of validate that I'm not that crazy. It feels good.
Right.
I was watching the radar and it looked like, oh, well, it might come late. It might come late. It might come late. And then I woke up, I pulled the radar up for Sunday, and it was probably right when everyone was rolling out of their tents, I imagine. And it was just dumping.
It really wasn't that bad. We woke up to like a really light rain, a little bit of wind. I think it was like 4 a.m. We parked under a whole bunch of acorns and the wind come ripping through and my metal tent roof was loud. It was gunfire. Yeah, I mean the rain wasn't that bad, but once we left camp it started to get worse and it was slick. It was slick
I
Sunday.
bet.
When we first
Yeah.
hit the trails, man, it was like, oh, this is not party time. This is like slow down and make sure you know what you're doing.
There's probably a name for that type of soil, but whatever Kentucky has, when it gets wet, I don't know if it's the clay content or what, but you're just not clearing it from your treads. You're almost like in a constant perpetual slide as you're moving forward. It clears just as fast as it re-enters your treads, and you can just feel it.
If you spin once, your tire's packed full of it.
Yeah,
Like,
for
do not
sure.
spin. If it's raining in Kentucky, do not spin a tire.
Yeah, because you're gonna dig, and it's gonna
You're gonna
stick.
dig.
It's so sticky. I have mud in random spots under my truck from Kentucky from years ago. It doesn't leave. So one question that I always like to ask everyone, especially if they're new, Matt, is what did you forget?
I think I was so I don't want to say over prepared, overpacked, probably overthought it. I took like everything to eat was like water boil, fill it up, like, or prepackaged.
Yeah.
And then people were whipping out like fajitas and steaks. And I was like, I'll eating a little bit of
Yeah. So you totally went with the bougie group because I am with you. I don't cook. I don't clean. What's that female rapper's name? I'm her when I'm overlanding.
and I had like 5 gallons of water plus a bladder for my camelback full of water. I'm like, I used like a gallon and a quarter. I don't know. I don't think I forgot any
That's good.
way over prepared.
Yeah.
I forgot how to organize. My project is figure out how to organize the bed.
Yeah. Were you using totes?
I had a Foot Locker, and then a like a Harbor Freight bucket.
Yeah.
I had, random things. It wasn't organized all in totes. So
Yeah. Well, there's the progression. It's, stuff everywhere,
oh, it
and
was
then the tote Verlander, and then you get real snooty, and then you either build or buy decked drawers, right? And then from there, you drink with your pinky out because you're
and I'm not gonna get one because I have a hard time. I've been at 'em all day.
honestly, I always like totes as long as camp stuff isn't getting mixed in with food stuff. It's okay. That
Well,
was that was my bread and butter for probably 8 years before I got drawers. The only reason I got drawers was for our trip to Canada.
the idea with the drawers is because like every time I needed something, it was always packed in the like towards the cab of it. Like no matter what it was, whether it was something for the truck or something, the food, or like for some reason, everything I needed was always under something else. Nothing was right there. Like something had to have been right there, but it was never what I needed. So I need figuring out what to pack where, when also is something I need to figure out. But
Yeah, I've noticed it becomes a lot of a like an elimination thing, and I think I'm almost at the point now where I look at my gear when I'm on a trip and I'm like, oof, I barely brought underwear.
We didn't bring any shirts this trip. I left them sit in our bedroom. I had my backup shirt that I just keep in the truck, and I end up buying one at Buc-ee's. That got me through.
That's awesome. That's
I
awesome.
woke up, what was it, Friday morning, and I'm like, "I didn't bring any clothes. This is terrible." I had pants, underwear, socks, no shirt, a couple sweatshirts, that was it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think that I've treated overlanding like backpacking for so long that I kind of feel myself on the upward trend of bringing more stuff. I'm not going to say I'm going to get a rooftop tent because I don't see that happening, but I might eat warm food. So if you see that, don't be surprised. It might happen.
That would be a shock.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I think since I got the Yukon and I can just bring whatever and it doesn't matter, it rides the same whether it's empty or towing the other truck, that like it doesn't matter.
Right.
So Matt, what did you think the hardest, what was the hardest section outside of Fincastle? Because it looked like with the rain and that weird substrate and fill that they put on that road, it looked tough. But outside of Fincastle, was there anything else that was pretty difficult?
no, I mean, I think FinCat. I mean, yeah, I don't really think there's anything specifically challenging. No,
Yeah, I tried when I built that route. Some of it was from memory, some of it was from some pre-existing routes, and I really tried to make it not grueling because I did want it to actually be kind of relaxing. But it sounds like at times it wasn't very relaxing. You guys had a lot of mechanic work to do. So, Aaron, what happened?
So, we woke up camp Saturday morning, and, before we even got out there, I was having trouble getting the route loaded onto Onyx, and Alex was having trouble with it. There was a handful of us all sitting there going, "We don't have the route. What's going on?" So we didn't leave camp till 8:30. So, we get rolling, we jump on the first trail, a little rockier than I expected, nothing crazy. Cool, we're down along a was creek, I guess, stream, and, we crossed through it a couple times, stop at a clearing, and then we get going again, and I hear Alex broke, and I'm like, "Okay," and Julia comes over the radio and goes, "That sounded really, really bad." And I'm like, "Marvelous." And, so I get up to where the group stopped, and I ask them like, "Hey, do I need to come up?" And they're like, "Yeah, you better get up here." So, I think I ended up meeting Julia, like, somewhere behind Alex's truck, and she's like, "I think the CV broke." And I'm hearing too that, like, the tie rod came apart, and I'm like, "This is really bad situation. Like, there's no passing. We are backing up out of this. Like, this is bad."
Yeah.
And you'll have to explain to me because I didn't get involved. It looked like Alex had it under control, so I just didn't need to spectate and got out of the way. But I think he has aftermarket like Heims and an adapter into his steering rack that came out somehow. I was afraid it pulled apart, but it seemed like
Yeah.
it just unthreaded. They put it back together, threw some thread locker on it. We took off down the trail. What was that? Half hour, 45-minute repair, Matt? Something like that. Nothing crazy, but
Oh,
again, a little farther behind. And, we get out of the trail and we get on the pavement and Alex takes off and they're saying it's sounding really, really bad, like the front diff's blown apart. So, I went up and jumped in with Alex. I threw Julia in my truck because she's gonna be the most familiar with it from the 24. So,
right.
we took off down the road. I'm kinda listening out the window, and mechanical destruction is the only way I can describe it, okay? I've heard a lot of CVs break. This one did not sound like a CV.
Jeez.
This sounded like the spider gear split and was laying in the bottom of the diff, and the ring gear was picking it up and trying to mate it with the pinion, but the pinion was rejecting it. It was
Oh,
bad.
just chains in a dump bed.
Worse, worse. Like, it was shaking the truck, not bad, but you could feel it. Every now and then, it would bind up, and it was like, I was afraid it was gonna rip a wheel out of his hand or something.
Woof.
But we were looking for, like, I wanted a church parking lot, someplace where nobody was gonna be, it was gonna be relatively flat, and we were gonna blow the front end apart, and we ended up finding a grassy field, and we were gonna do it in the middle of the road until a dump truck came and needed to pass on that road. So we got him in the grass, which was kinda leaning, and, we ripped the driver's side CV out of it first. The plan was we had to get the front drivetrain free. It had to s had to get it spinning. So,
Yeah.
he's got a 205 to put in
It
that,
should at home he should have an M205, but I believe in that truck he's running an R180 with the press fit CV axles.
knowing he had that diff at home, we were like, "Well, if the front diff's grenaded, no big deal, whatever. You're gonna change CVs to run that diff, so let's sacrifice the CVs." So we pull the, ball joints apart, cut the boot at the diff on the CV because it's just gonna pull right out at that point, and got the CV out of the hub and everything. Cut the boot off of the wheel side, and it is kinda shrapnel, not really, but, like, it's definitely hurt.
Yeah.
And, I'm beating on it. I think it was a snap ring or something. I've got it, like, under my foot, just wailing on it. It's not coming loose, and that's the one that's got the 6 balls inside with the cage.
Mhm.
That's hardened metal. I can hit that, and it's gonna shatter. So, sharp point of the hammer, right down, crack the egg, thing split apart. We put the, subshaft back in that side, dropped it down. Lex takes it for a ride. It's still crunching. We're like, "Okay, let's do the other side now." We pop it apart. That was bad. I've never seen that much destruction in a CV in my life. That
Just
was
grenaded apart.
you know what I think happened is when the tie rod fell apart, it twisted the spindle so far that it put too much angle on the CV and just
Yeah. Now, um, what I believe happened, so on that particular setup, he's running a Heimed inner and I believe also a Heimed outer tie
double
rod.
shear.
So that Heimed inner has the same thread style as the um, inner tie rod that it threads right
Rack.
onto the rack. Now, what I have seen happen because I've done it is you get to adjusting the tie rod on the outside, right? Your outer tie rod. And typically, you can that inner tie rod's going to spin inside of that ball and socket. If you incorrectly torque or don't use Loctite is like a requirement on the inner tie rod to the rack. If you don't use that, you can make enough tension that when you're spinning that tie rod, you're actually spinning it out of the rack. And it's very possible that happened in his instance. So I think, at least from the pictures that I saw, that threaded out, and I could see that causing some havoc.
I'm just glad it happened on the trail and not on the interstate to camp. Like,
Yeah.
that been catastrophic.
No, definitely. Definitely. Yeah, I'm glad he has the parts at the house. If not, there's one in my garage. He's more than welcome to have a few spare parts. Now, did he break again? Because I saw a very interesting video of him back tires just diffed out in a ditch.
So
Getting
he didn't break. So when you cross the stream at Fincastle, you come up to an intersection, right, left or straight, and a bunch of them went right and got down there not too far and realized they had to back out. And Alex got to where the intersection was and wasn't paying attention and backed it right down into the ditch. So it's not hard. He was trying to get as much space
yeah,
as he possibly get to turn.
yeah,
And I mean, he went in the ditch. I went into the ditch the last trip, about rolled my truck. So like it
yeah,
happened, you know.
right, absolutely.
But
Yeah,
that,
it's
I
not
mean,
like he was 4-wheel drive there either. So
if he had four-wheel drive, it'd have been a non-event thing. But being
yeah,
that he already broke a bunch of stuff and didn't, it was a thing for a second.
yeah. Did anybody else break, or was he the sole
I
sole
think he was
guy?
it.
Ross
Yeah,
vendors, but other than
Oh
that,
yeah. So
he's
where Alex broke,
part of those trucks.
yeah, where Alex's tie rod fell apart after I was like cleared of being responsible to repair it, I started walking back to see what he actually did to cause it. And there sat a fender, and I was like, well, "That's a fender off a Bronco." And I didn't think anything about it. I was like, Ford parts falling off. What else is new, you know?
yeah, right.
And not even thinking that Ross has a Bronco. So before we left, I think Julia called out on the radio, like, "Hey, is anybody missing a fender?" And Ross was like, "Oh, yeah, I'm missing one." I'm like, "I know where it's at." So I went back and picked it up.
He probably popped that back on and Sync 3 reconnected.
I mean, it looks like it's plastic welded with a ballpoint pin in like 3 spots.
Yep.
It needs some, man, you throw some RTV on it, it would be good.
Yeah, I saw the Glassworks guys have that Bronco Raptor, and they said the exact same thing in their post before they went down. They're like, if anybody finds a fender, please give it back to us. It's going to be the only shiny white one. So it must be a thing.
Yeah, it
I
must
know that
be.
I know I've watched him pop those off before, and I've also seen the bumper cover eject itself on
Yep.
on Broncos many times.
They're impressive, man. For what they are, they do really good. Ford did their homework on it. It's just, man, they didn't build a good fender flare. The
Yeah,
bumper
I
cover.
was just talking about that. I'm not a Ford fan. I'm not like pro or for any brand, I guess, but I don't know. I could go on a tangent, but Ford has let me down in ways I feel. However, I think that the Bronco, excluding the Sport, and the Ranger have been really, really good platforms. They have their quirks, that the tie rods could be better, the front ends, whatever. But I think as far as a new vehicle, that's about as good as you're going to get as a
Yeah.
factory off-roader. I mean, it's a pretty slick ride. If you can drive, you can take one of those on 33s literally anywhere. That
Yep, they're a weapon.
not like private parks and stuff, but like for what we do, they're very, very much so outfit for what we have going on. So, Matt, I'm glad you didn't break anything. It did look like your side. We're gonna call them sliders because they did some sliding. It looks like they took
They
some
took some
bumps.
damage. Yeah.
Yeah. I had to derust them and spray them to keep them rusting some more of it. They're a little squished, but they still work.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. I can't remember if I've ever laid under one of those, and I don't know if it's the same attachment points as the ZR2s are. They probably are on the body. I recall on the ZR2 them being reasonably strong. I mean, obviously they're body mounted, but like I said, they did their job. The door still opens, and the sliders didn't hit the body, and the body didn't take any damage. So I'm going to call it a win. I think they did a heck of a lot better than. Have you ever seen Toyota's factory side steps? I think maybe Tiger or a very similar manufacturer
I
makes
think
them.
that's what they call 'em.
Predator, yeah. Have you ever heard those on a trail? It sounds like a gun going off. It's like this tension steel on the steps, and if you catch them on something, it's like bing, and they go flying.
Yeah.
So they held up better than the tacos. So that's good.
Yeah. And it's like a 3-piece system. So you've got the actual like Nerf bar slider or whatever, and you've got a metal plate that bolts to, and then that bolts to a metal plate that like basically clamps to the
Sandwich.
body pinches.
Okay.
So the passenger side, when it took its biggest hit, instead of hitting the body at all, it just like slid a little bit where all the bolts hit together. So I was able to just jump on it, put a little weight on
Yeah.
it. back out. I'm gonna go back and actually tighten the bolts again.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like, as long as there wasn't body deformation and you don't anticipate, like, wheeling harder than that in the near future, honestly, probably not, I mean, leave them, run it,
Yeah,
you
run it
know?
for a while. They got life.
Yeah, they sell Raptor liner in an aerosol now. Scuff, shoot, bada
Well,
bing, bada boom.
I've already used that on the front fascia, so
Yeah.
it's holding up.
I use POM 15. So they have POR 15, which is paint over rust. I just paint over mud. My sliders are years of geological data just stored upon the bottom and sides.
I do the exact same thing.
I'm gonna
Why not?
scrape it off. It's like what, 8-inch wall DOM tubing.
Yeah.
Who cares?
It's not thick. Surprised it's not. I guess not really intended to slide it on it, but it
Yeah.
worked.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad it held up. So I'm not a big, well, my vehicle's terrible at this. So exclude my vehicle from what I'm about to say. I'm not like big on like forcing mods or anything, but after that trip, if you were to pick one modification that you would want to do as far as vehicle performance goes, what do you think you would pick?
Are you counting skid plates as performance? Because that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I already have my eye on full body, flat belly skids, and that is definitely the next thing I'm getting. So I'm going with steel 316.
I like steel for anything that faces forward and covers the oil pan, and then I like aluminum for pretty much everything else. It's kind of how I look at it. The weight savings, at the end of the day, you might only be saving 50 pounds, and that's probably on the high side. But like we talked about this before with winches, Aaron, 50
Yeah.
pounds falling from a foot is actually like a lot of force. I'm sure somebody that got more than a D in math class could very simply calculate what that force is, but it's a lot, I can assure you. I know that because if you drop 50 pounds on your foot, you go, ouch. So that's a lot.
Yeah.
Somebody said the extra weight with the skids is going to be a lower center of mass anyway, so it's actually better.
That's true. That is
Yeah, I
true.
hadn't considered that. I like that.
Yeah. I run a steel rad skid and a steel engine skid. And my shock skids are steel too, but they're tiny.
Yeah,
Actually
I'm on board.
don't run a transfer case skid. A lot of guys do. I just feel like I know where my case is, and that's like not a very common place where I'm hitting. I don't know.
You know, it's funny you say that because I'm running full bud built skids and mine goes from like the rack back to the transfer case, a little bit behind it. It's got no damage. It's been on there for 2 years. It
Yeah,
like I catch on things and get high centered on it more than like bashing into stuff with it.
yeah. Well, that's cool. I'm happy to hear. I, my answer is usually always skid plates because I can always spin tire. I can always get recovered, but I can't unbrake shit that skid plates cover. So I think you're spot on with that. If my unsolicited opinion matters, I think that's a pretty good idea. What tires were you running? Were you on OEM?
I'm running the whatever the stock Goodyear
Wranglers.
or with Kevlar
Yeah,
30.0 something tires. It's an on-off road. I mean, it's technically says it's all terrain, but I don't think it classifies as true all terrain.
yeah. I think those are the same tires James has on, right? Like the Wrangler TAs or whatever.
I think
James was really upset that we were bashing on his tires and his maintenance skill. It was funny. It was funny. He is looking to get better tires though.
Yeah, no, they have Kevlar.
They have Kevlar. Yeah, he did good with
Uh,
it. Both of you
I
guys did. P series tires, like
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. I think that's always like my tide for 1 and 2 mod, and I'm never gonna say get the biggest tire, because I don't like that. I think there's benefit to buying the right tire, not just the biggest tire, and that's probably a next week discussion.
Yep. Next
But
podcast.
whatever the tire size is that doesn't limit articulation or steering or gearing, that meets your goals and is quality, is going to do a lot for you versus, and you'll feel it too. Like now that you have some seat time and some really, really slick shit, whenever you grab a tire and you do something similar, you're gonna be like, whoa, that was different. Now the real question, did you air down?
Yeah. Yeah, we aired down actually before we rolled out, what was it? Saturday morning.
Yep.
Yeah.
What's your
Yeah,
run?
that was actually kinda interesting because I don't think there was any, like, PA announcement like, "Alright, we're rolling out, make sure you do this, this, and this." So, I just noticed somebody else was airing down, and then the second person, I'm like, "Maybe I'm gonna air down." They seem to know what they're doing. But by the time I was aired down, like, everybody else was already airing down. I'm like, "Okay, good."
Yeah.
I only go to 18, so it's not like I was too far down to roll on pavement.
Probably good on the
That's
P series.
that's what I was thinking. On a P tire, that's probably a decent amount of flex.
Yep.
Especially you said you were pretty loaded. That was probably fine. It didn't look like you were having major issues.
Yeah, I didn't feel limited at all in any way, other
Yeah.
lots of banging underneath. Nothing
I
broken.
had
I'm still driving it, so it's like no check engine lights or anything. So it's just interesting when you hear all the mystery banging. Like, what did I hit?
it usually sounds a lot worse than it is. You'll feel it when it's real bad. It lets you know.
Well, I mean, you've got bare frame and all that under there, so it could be hitting that, and that probably rings the loudest.
Yeah, well, think about it like, I don't know if you hunt, but a squirrel in the woods when you're hunting for deer sounds like an elephant walking through the woods. It's very similar when you're driving down a trail and a rock hits your exhaust, hits your muffler, all
Yeah,
that steel reverberating. Something minor feels major.
like I don't know what it was about the trip, but I was waking up at 5:30 every morning, and like nobody else
Me
was waking
too.
up. And literally, I'm unzipping every like the 10, and I'm like opening a door. Like everything sounded so loud. I'm like, okay, try not to wake anybody else up.
Now, did you guys get to see, there should have been a decent bit of scenic stuff to pass by. Did you guys get to check all that out?
Yeah, we did one of the arches. Is that Natural Bridge or what was the arch
So
that we
Friday when we came in as a group, when we come in early, we stopped at Skybridge, Glady Visitor Center, and Whistling Rocks.
Okay, nice.
we did
There
not
was actually a wedding happening under Skybridge, so we got to like
Really?
there and wait for about 20 minutes, and they finished up, said their I do's, whatever, and then there was like 30 strangers start cheering. They were kind of surprised, but that was kind of cool.
That's cool. How was S Tree? Was it nice?
Both campsites were very much acceptable. I had no issues with them.
Yeah,
That's
that's
it
good.
was they were about the same. They were national park, like what you would expect.
Yeah,
Hole in the ground to poop in and decent campsites
yeah,
with a fire ring and,
yeah,
what you want.
that's cool.
way more formal of a camping experience than I was expecting. I thought we were just gonna be in the woods somewhere, digging holes.
Believe it or not, in the Daniel Boone, especially for vehicle-borne camping, it's really hard to do that.
Yeah.
If you're by yourself, not so much, but when you have a group, it's pretty tough. There's not a lot of areas where that's accessible. Plus, I really liked that second campground, so the one for Saturday night. We were there, I want to say 2 years ago maybe, and we actually camped. The water level was so low, we actually camped in the river rock, like right when you come in across that low water bridge. We camped on the bank. I think that's actually maybe more like concrete culvert and like a
Yeah.
gunite.
It's in between like a low water and a normal bridge.
Yeah.
It's still
I
low, but
know I know
crazy.
looking at it, I really wanted to crawl the side of it, but I knew that was wrong.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So when we stayed there, we actually went up the road. So if you head north from that spot, and we went like spelunking light, which is like my biggest fear. How I went inside caves, dude, I have no idea. I was just in the moment, but I was like, yeah, all right, I'm getting out of here now.
Man,
But I
so
love the caves.
so Matt and I had different experiences after Alex's fiasco Saturday. We sent half the group with Ross, and I do want to call out Ross because from the sounds of it, he did a good job leading the rest of them along and following the route and making the
That's good.
calls. Like, yeah, he took control of that and did a good job. But Matt went with them. I stayed back, so I got to go into the was it Mullen Station lime quarry
Yeah,
lime
okay.
yeah. And I believe they did earlier than us. But after that, I don't know what Matt saw. We didn't follow that route the rest of the way. We just ended up shooting to camp.
Okay, okay.
there was some other stuff we did, but I don't know what the rest of the route was like on Saturday. So was there more stuff to look at, Matt?
So we went to the mine cave and the train tunnel, and we wandered in on foot. Nobody wanted to drive in just because there was kind of glass and everything everywhere. So we got a bunch of pictures with everybody just kind of wandering around. Then we went and checked out the tunnel. After that, just because of how much time we were behind, we were looking at possibly doing 2 to 3 bypasses. We ended up doing a total of 2 of the bypasses, but then found a random, because of the bypasses we did, we were able to find a random like offshoot that cut back to where we were supposed to go, which ended up being one of the more interesting outside of Fincastle, one of the more interesting trails because it had some kind of like off camber stuff. It had some rocks that we had to do, but it was interesting, but not too challenging. So
Nice.
the 2 trails that we did there was really interesting. There was actually one where I'm second now. Ross is in the front, and he's like, "I'm gonna go through this water, but you might have to pull me." So rock on the bottom, but it was just that kind of like you're gonna go forward, okay.
Nice.
We went forward, and I really did enjoy all the water that we did have to go through. That was the one thing I was really worried about was water crossing. The
Yeah.
last time I went in the water, I got stuck. This was different because it wasn't sand.
So there's some more excitement going on in Kentucky this weekend. So my FOMO is just bubbling over. This weekend is the 24 hours finale, 24 hours of Appalachia finale in Kentucky. And I think it's been a dry week, if I'm not mistaken. But that rain on Sunday, I think, was probably just enough to keep it slick
Yep.
for these guys. So I think it's going to be pretty interesting. I have some bets. So right now it's Friday, October 24th at 11 p.m. So I have my top 3 here. I'm going to say first place is going to be number 001, the Jeep Wagoneer on, I think, like 8s or 40s. I'm going to give second place to Mitch in the Gladiator. And so long as it holds together, I'm going to go third place as the teal or mint colored Frontier on 40s. I'm locking it in. That's my guess.
Who's the camo first time for this event or quick time? Who's the fastest one of us?
Who's in it now?
Yeah, like of our group that's running it, who do you think's gonna set? Who's gonna do it the quickest and who's gonna do it the slowest?
Oh, you're going to make me say it?
Yeah, we haven't made anybody upset yet. We got to upset somebody.
All right. Only because it's not built for speed, the Montero is not going to be the fastest. However, I will say, if Patrick keeps his foot in it, I think the Montero will do very well.
It finishes for sure. If it stays
And
together,
I think he
it's all right.
finishes. As long as he doesn't stop or wait for anybody or be the hero, be the nice guy, I think he finishes. But I don't see him being the fastest. I think Ross is very reserved after what happened after Mothman. Yes.
How was there were going to be any telephone calls on this trip?
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, there was a rogue telephone pole. And wouldn't you know, this thing levitated out of the ground. I seen it with my own eyes. It levitated out of the ground. He was traveling at actually 5 miles below the posted speed limit, and 2 hands on the wheel, 9 and 12, and a telephone pole just jumped out of the ground and went directly through the A pillar of his Bronco. Can't believe it. So I think after being assaulted by the rogue timber, that it has slowed him down a little bit. So if we can maybe get some caffeine to his nicotine, then I think he has a real chance at like really performing well, because I think the Bronco is like the number 1 contender as far as a new vehicle.
You know, he was talking to me about that thing, and that thing's kind of a special thing. I guess it's an earlier year release that has a bunch of the gadgets and stuff on it for the short wheelbase that isn't
Yeah.
offered anymore. That thing's kind of a weapon. If he knows how to use
Yeah.
it right, I think he can do something pretty respectable.
Heck yeah. And I'll tell you what, man, the power out of that 2.7 with the manual transmission and no power loss through an auto, it's pretty cool, man. It feels like it's going to pop a wheelie. So, yeah, I'm not like, I mean, you know me, I'm kind of anti-mode. You know, when he gets on about goat mode and whatnot, you know, he
Yeah.
kind of loses me. But tell you what, long as he keeps his foot in it, doesn't stop, he's gonna do really well, I think. That's
I
my
think
bet. That's my guess
he
as
threw the
far as camo
35s
ray
on it, I
goes.
think.
He brand new ones.
Brand new territories? Goodyears? I think they're
Yeah, I don't think they were KM3s,
no,
were
I think
they?
they're territories. He had KO2s
Yeah,
on it for our trip last weekend. I think those are
yeah,
33, but I think he threw a set of 35 territories on it.
yeah.
And I
Is,
like the design.
yeah, no, I think he's gonna do well. Does that thing have a sway bar disconnect? Is that
It's
a
got the sway
feature?
bar disconnect, front and rear lockers. I don't know if it does the not dig, where they lock up the inside rear tire to go cutting brake. I don't know if
Yeah,
it has the cutting brake. I think it had a pretty low do they have a special low gear in the transfer case?
got crawl gear, I believe.
Is that what it is?
Yeah,
He was telling me there was a lot of stuff,
yeah,
like, I don't remember it all. I was
yeah.
half listening, but I was like,
I don't
"Really?"
know how you get into whatever that gear is. I don't know if you have to be in low range or if you can get it in two wheel. I'm not sure. I've never
Yeah.
pissed with
I
one, but
yeah.
it does have I don't know what they call it, goat or Mothman, Sasquatch mode, whatever it is. It's a seventh gear and it's super low.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hope he does really well. Definitely rooting for everybody. But if I'm placing another bet, 12 full size finish is my bet. I think there's 48 that are in. I'm going to say 12 finish in 24 hours. I think the side by side should do pretty well. I think that this route is like built for side by side people. Should be easy for them.
I haven't looked at the route, so
I loosely know it. I mean, I've been down there for most of it.
yeah. I've seen enough of Kentucky to kinda figure out what it's gonna look like.
Yeah. I think the bike guys are just badasses, like, especially this one,
As
especially
long as
if
it's
it's
not
muddy.
slick. Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, man, there is I can't remember the name of the road, it escapes me right now, but, it's a really cool rock feature. It's like a double lip up a rock. I think they posted about it last week.
Yeah.
That trail is so fun. I didn't send Camo to it because it would have
I
been like
need
we
to.
yeah, it didn't need to be done for that trip, but, it is a really fun obstacle, and what a lot of people I think are gonna do is they're not gonna wanna cross it up, and they're gonna get the hops, and I think that particular obstacle, because I think it happens early, might become a parking lot. So, I hope that doesn't happen, but we'll see. If it gets muddy, there's like no real easy way up it. It is a pretty tough obstacle. But I hope if that happens, people are smart and they just pull line for the first person that's stuck and then just run a line of whoever makes it up, yanks the guy behind you and go, you know. Hopefully. That should have happened at what is that, Mothman?
Man,
Yeah.
just
So
ahead of that mess, thankfully.
yeah, I fortunately didn't have to deal with whatever all that business was.
Yep.
I remember thinking that it was gonna get pretty rowdy if somebody got stuck there,
Yep, me too.
but yeah, I'm excited. I wanna be there really bad, but got stuff going on tomorrow that is muchos more important, so I will be there, and I will be there in spirit, so we'll see, but it should be a good time. I'm excited for the 2026 season. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely wanna do another one. I think I'm gonna do the Hinton one this year.
Yeah, I like the winter one a lot. I like being cold and miserable, I guess.
I don't dude, snow is the reason I'm not doing Mothman. That's it. I don't wanna deal with the snow, man. Like,
Yeah,
the Hinton one's in the middle of summer, and it starts and ends at the same spot, which makes lodging nice. Mothman, I
yeah.
carried camping gear, and I don't wanna carry camping gear. I want that weight out of the truck.
Yeah, the, extra survival gear in the truck for Mothman. I mean, it wasn't a ton, but, like, when I'm doing the events, I like my cab to be empty. Like, I don't want anything in it except for
Yep.
cut out a Dale beside me, you know? And
Right.
that I had stuff in the truck, and not that it really mattered, but, like, I noticed it, you know, and I would rather it not be there.
I mean, we were air frying bagel bites stuff, so, like, we had stuff in the cab. We were eating, you know? Uh,
Yeah, uh
made
that
it
was
enjoyable.
cold. I was just talking about that today. Coming across Bower Basin and Old 150, that was frigid, and
That's what
I think
stopped us. I didn't have
folks
enough
are
fuel, and I was afraid we were gonna get up there in the
yeah,
cold and be in a really bad life-threatening situation. That's
yeah.
that's when I was like, "Nope, I'm not doing this."
I think people got very fortunate in that particular event that nobody had issues in those 2 spots because that was some pretty extreme weather. I mean, we've been in some shit before, and that could have gone sideways real quick.
Yeah, when I was up on the scenic highway and seen snow coming across sideways and I was looking at, like, 21 degrees on my intake air temperature through my snorkel and everything, I was like, "It's a little frigid out there, like,
Yeah.
I don't wanna get stuck up here."
Yeah. So I'll be excited. So as a group, kind of our core group, right? The guys. So Camo has a Discord. We added ourselves in a what is that Life 360 group.
Yep.
So that group existed for like 2 hours, and I think we were already on like the FBI's most wanted list for like the worst drivers in America. Let me see. Let me pull this up. Actually, let me read through these stats.
These are good stats.
So the reason that we downloaded this was so that we could follow our people through the route through Kentucky, especially if somebody had an issue and we can't get a hold of them. This is a way we can get a hold of them. But also to follow along, and for those of us that aren't there, we're gonna talk our way through it. So I just want to go through. This is so bad. I want to go. I'm gonna go through our driving stats. So there's 8 of us that added to this, and a couple of the guys were en route to Kentucky when this was put together. So this is, I'm going to say, what, 2 p.m. today, maybe 3 p.m. today is when this started. It
Yeah.
is 11 p.m. right now. We have 95 speeding events, 86 phone usage events, 5 instances of hard braking, and 6 instances of rapid acceleration. So all our shit is obviously very heavy because we can't go and stop very quickly. We've logged 700 miles in the group, and we've actually allegedly, I'm not going to show it because it's alleged, but allegedly we've peaked the maximum speed that is displayable in the app. So it just says 100 plus. So hopefully Life 360 does not share information with the insurance companies, or I will be uninsured by morning.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I
but I'm
love
very
guys.
excited. I'm very excited to follow everyone along. So I don't know if Steven wants me talking about this, but I'm going to do it anyway because I'll know if he listened to the podcast or not. So Steven has been diligently working to build a very intuitive Overland app that works kind of similar to this, but instead of being centric around, coming and going, it's more trip based so that you can see your convoy on trips, have your own garages, a real intuitive Overland app that kind of connects the dots with trips and the type of trips that we do. So I don't know what the time frame on that looks like. I'm not sure if he knows either. But when that drops, that will be really cool.
That will be.
Hopefully he doesn't send somebody to club me to death in my sleep for dispelling that information. But it's going to be pretty neat.
Yeah.
I'm excited for it, but he has been, and I've been following along with it. Camo will eventually very likely be the beta tester when that goes live. So I'm excited, very excited for that.
Exciting.
Yeah, but I just can't stop being jealous of these guys for tomorrow. My prayers are that everyone is safe and that it is a horrible, grueling experience for all competitors, because that makes the best story.
Doesn't matter what happens, good or bad, as long as you make a story.
Absolutely. So, Matt, you've experienced Camo in Kentucky. What do you think? Do you see yourself meshing with our motley crew in the future?
We have 12 people there, 3 children and a dog. I'm friends with all of them on Facebook now. I
That's
can't
cool.
be out there again. I think I had like 5 different spotters throughout the 2 days, and like every single one of them was ace for spotting me. Like I didn't have any problems. Ross may or may not have taken some wrong turns here and there, but we got him on track. Yeah, a great group. Like there was no like everybody was just it was like a big family, really. Like
Yeah.
without the sibling rivalry with everybody hating each other.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah. That's cool.
I'm interested to try and get my family to come along. I just
Yeah.
children there. I think the youngest was 10 and my daughter's 10. I think she'd get a kick out of it. She loves to come on the rides with me, take pictures. And my wife already said she wants to come along and take some pictures.
Yeah. We
Absolutely.
We had a great kids trip. What month was that, Aaron? When all the kids
July,
came? July.
July, August,
Um,
something like that. That was a good
heck,
trip.
I think at one point we had like 9 kids under 10 years old.
Yeah.
So it was pretty cool, man. I love that stuff. I have 4, so it's a bit busy.
Yeah, I actually was cleaning out the, camper right before this trip, and I found a bracelet from Max and Maddie at the last trip when they were making bracelets with the kids, and I gave one to Piper, and man, now we got a whole new bracelet kit. Like, she's
Oh
been
yeah.
tearing up bracelets this last couple days.
Yeah. That was
Cool.
fun, and actually, it bums me out a little. I love winter, but it does bum me out a little bit because I think it would be a blast to get up to our usual spot in West Virginia and get the
Yeah,
families out, but it's tough in the wintertime.
I'm a bear, man. I'm going into hibernation for the year. You're not gonna see me until spring. I'm I don't do cold, man.
Yeah. I do wanna get up there. I don't know when. I really wanna get a thank miss thing together sooner than later. I don't have a good date on that. I will. Matt, what do you think? You think you'll catch the sickness where today you're like, "Ah, it'll just be skids," but then you'll be like, "Well, I could mid-travel it."
I had already gotten quotes for lifting it a little bit, so I've been talked out of it multiple times. It's gonna be a slow grind. I think when it finally needs new suspension, it'll probably get lifted at least a little bit.
Yeah.
But I don't it's just my daily driver, so I don't wanna go too crazy, and I don't ever intend on, like, rock crawling with it.
Right, right.
Uh,
As a daily driver.
so who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. I can vividly remember saying that I was going to leave my Frontier bone stock. I'll never modify a vehicle again. I'm done, blah blah blah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a sickness. The problem is it's the modifying part is like the hobby. I really like modifying stuff. It's like Legos. It's just like the more Legos you build, the shittier it is.
More that fall
I
off.
showed a bunch of, brake tips today in the Discord, and, like, that's the stuff I live for, is, like, trying to get stuff to work as good as it possibly can so that I don't have to do any more maintenance.
Yeah, that was there are I believe there are bucks fighting right in front of me.
What is happening at your house? Last week was UFOs, now we got deer fighting?
That's what it sounds like. Big slapping. Anyway,
I found a set of stale marshmallows from the last trip with Piper and proceeded to launch them at numerous vehicles. I got Alex on the interstate pretty good. He said it was a puff of sugar when it hit the windshield, and it attracts dust, so that was nice. Matt took a marshmallow to the bumper at the gas station Sunday. Chucked a couple through Ross's side window. Who else got marshmallowed? There was some chaos in
They
marshmallow.
were at the fire and they were falling asleep.
Yeah. I started chucking marshmallows at people. I think I chucked one at you. James got a couple that he was snoring. I was trying to get him in his mouth, and I think I hit the back of the chair. That
I
was
love
cool.
it. That's awesome.
Man, scenic. Very, very scenic. All the leaves were falling into the water. The water was the perfect color. Like, it made for some great photos. I'm stoked on the pictures I got this weekend.
Yeah, shoot me a link so we can I'll put the link to where we can find and people can look at those somewhere
So
in the
we
show
are
notes.
trying to start a photography business doing this. The website is under construction. Probably next week or two, I'll have that ready to launch. We'll see what happens with it. We're gonna do some off roading stuff. Wife wants to get into some equestrian stuff. We're gonna get some portraits. There's still some pictures of people that I need to put up on the Discord, but next couple weeks, man, we'll have that stuff going.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I love that. We'll keep that posted and we'll mesh the two because there's a big difference between a iPhone picture and when somebody busts out a real DSLR and a real lens and it's like, wow, I can actually see what
Yeah,
that was supposed to look like.
yeah.
So that's cool.
Photoshop is a miracle maker too, man. Like some of these pictures, like when we got them, I was like, man, I don't know if these are going to turn out just right. And man, once we edited them, they're phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool, man. Yeah, I think I did want to touch on you brought up the brake stuff in the Discord. This is just I think one of the things I want to do moving forward is just like a tech tip of the day. And I think what you talked about today with the brakes is a really good idea, especially for we live on the snow belt and rust belt coast. So
Yeah.
basically, to kind of tie in what we had going on, there was a member that was having some spongy brake issues, wasn't really sure what was going on, and Aaron, if you want to explain what you suggested, at least look for the next time he has the caliper and pads apart.
So, I like to put a lot of clearance into my brakes, and when I say a lot, I mean a couple thousands. It's really not that much. All the stuff that holds a pad in, whether it be the pins and the holes in the pads and the holes in the caliper or the slides when the pad slides in. I still got all this stuff out. These style pads, a lot of times I will grind this area down a little bit and anti-seize or grease it. You want the pads to slide back and forth in the caliper so that it'll beat the rust out. Any debris that gets in there, it'll open up and let it fall out. It doesn't hold rust and dirt,
Yeah.
debris. These are the other style that have the pin that goes through, and sometimes you just take a drill bit through them or wallow them out a little bit.
Yeah.
What else?
I've always used on the pin style. I usually use a file on mine for the same reason. On both the caliper, just to knock away anything that's calcified, rusted, corroded, whatever. But then I always clearance the pad, like you said, just a few thou. It doesn't need to be. I mean, don't grind a quarter inch off the thing and the damn pads are falling out. I'm sure there's like techs out there and that are like, oh my gosh, he's modifying brakes. It's not modifying brakes. It's just you got to realize that everything after the factory now has tolerances that aren't what the factory had. And you're going to be in a lot better place if you have a little bit of slop and that thing can run dirty versus it sits for 3 weeks over the winter time with mud and slop in there. And the next time you go and hit your brakes, the caliper hangs up. So I like doing it. And I think it's a really, really good tip because most of us don't have brand new Broncos and we don't have brand new whatevers. And we're not going to the shop to get our stuff done. It happens right over there in either a garage or a driveway or under a tree in the grass. And anything that can make your life easier the next time you got to lay under the thing, something to look at. So I like that. We won't call it modifying your brakes, but we'll call it prepping them.
Yes. Fitting to usage specs, maybe.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. I can't think of anything else we have going on. You guys have anything to add?
Nothing sticking out. I don't know of any other events that are happening.
No,
Uh,
we'll most definitely we'll do a wrap up for the Kentucky final. Just some things in the pipeline. So next week will very likely be the wrap up for Kentucky. The following week will likely be some tire talk. Probably the week after that, we'll probably have All Dogs Off Road join us. So that'll be
Nice.
pretty sweet. And possibly the week after that, I also have a representative from Rock Run Natural Area in Altoona area to come on and talk shop a little bit about what it's like running an actual off-road park. So some pretty cool stuff going on.
That's
Some
cool.
people that are much more interesting than me, I think, to chat with. So that should be pretty fun.
So I ended up talking to a couple of guys over the weekend, and there seems to be an interest in hearing about you and I's background. So at some
Ooh,
point, we should interview each other and give a history of how we got to be who we are.
I like that. I like that. Yeah, maybe we'll do like a version of 20 questions. 20 off-road questions, just maybe not 20 because we'll be here for 6 hours.
Yeah.
Should do it hot take style.
We eat wings. Just crush hot wings and like take a shot. And by the end, we'll see if we can still talk to each other.
I'm not against it. I'm
Yeah, I don't hate
not
it, I
crazy
guess.
about it. I'm not against it though. It's entertaining. That's what we're here to do. Entertain and teach.
I'm gonna be sitting out here with icicles coming out of my nose, eating hot wings. I'm gonna need a bigger fire.
Uh,
Oh man. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much, Matt. I appreciate you hopping on here both last week and this week and trusting your life and equipment in our crazed hands. Aaron, thank you so much for leading that one in my absence. And Ross, if you're watching this one, thank you as well. Everybody that I talked to said that you also knocked it out of the park. So until next time, everybody, shiny side up, rubber side down. See ya.
See ya.